Well, good evening. And as stated and as promised, we will be doing the Jeffrey Dahmer reading today. Now, this is not a reading basically on Jeffrey Dahmer or the victims or things like that. This is just to see if he was a part of something, an organization, or how he was profiting off of these victims. Now, we talked about things like this on Crime TV. We have learned from the spirits and Crime TV that murders are not just murders, okay? They just don't happen to just happen. I think a lot of people are very scared or more in fear of the thought that murderers just basically sit around one day and say, I want to murder somebody. That's not the way it goes, y'all. It's a little more in depth than that. The camera's changing. We have called in the spirits. We've also called in some of the victims of Jeffrey Dahmer. We will not be calling in Jeffrey Dahmer, y'all, because I like to go to sleep at night. So this is about to get really deep. And another thing I wanted you guys to understand as well is that you're going to hear some information in this reading. You're only going to get in this reading on Crime TV. You're only going to hear these things on Crime TV because we went a little further than most. And as you know, my spirits are good. So I want to kind of give you some information we got during meditation. All right. So it's very interesting. All right. And it's kind of what I was feeling or getting. Hard to explain the gift, y'all. Just hanging there with me. All right. Now, he was in Germany for some time. That's what I get. There's also gay bars in Germany. Believe it or not, there are. And it's giving a lot of information. For one, it's going into the kid that was 14 years old. To the spirits, y'all, they are very agitated by that specific crime. I don't know if it's the boy's ancestors. A lot of it has to do with his age because to spirits, 14 is a kid, a child, a baby, okay? So it has agitated the spirits even more, if that makes sense. And again, if you see these little baby ants, y'all went and got that taken care of as well, but you know it is what it is. Also, there was some transporting in a van. I believe he had access to a van for a certain amount of time, especially with some old jobs that he had, okay? Now, the spirits also says something that's very, very true, very intriguing as well, is that this country allowed it. Allowed this to go on for so long. So again, I want to see if he's a part of something. It also said he was a con man. Now, we do know that. Also, I got Jeffrey asking someone, name your price. Again, we were saying something about was he profiting off of this and what kind of way. Now, what I got, what the spirits told me, is that there are records of him essaying victims and also keeping them alive. And you're saying, what, that doesn't make sense. He killed them. Okay, yes. And some amount of time, some of these victims did come to their demise. But again, we're going into torture, y'all, okay? Where you keep victims alive for a certain amount of time. And then they just kind of, you know, go into death, if you will. All right? Now, some of his victims, but one in particular too, okay, I believe this happened to. Now, there is a story of a victim where he was alive for a couple days, y'all, and he was fighting for his life, okay? Jeffrey would basically go to work, come back, check on him, leave, come back, check on him, make sure he's still alive. Eventually, he did come to his circumstances, okay, whatever you call it. And I believe he was actually filming these things and selling it to people, buyers, okay? This was a business. We talked about him not being able to deal with money or keep a job. And in some way, he had to support this habit and also himself, okay? Now, also, this name Brian came in very strong. And for you Jeffrey fans out there, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the victim named Brian, but he did come in and say, hey, I'm Brian. So that could be one of the names of the victims. There were payments made to Jeffrey, okay? It's saying something about a tax, about, come on now, something about a tax, generating income for a tax, okay? So again, we're going into these weirdo films, these weirdo pictures, things of this nature, and buyers that are into things like this. This is also why I feel like there's a comparison. All right, you know what I'm talking about, spirits. A comparison, you guys, of Maxwell Anderson's latest crime or crimes and also Jeffrey. Not only do they, was living in the same place at the time, and these murders happened in the same place at the same, at that time or whatever, different times, of course, but you know what I'm talking about. There's a very strong spiritual comparison. All right. And I get where that's coming from, even though it is different. And I keep telling you guys that. But there's a lot of similarities as well. And I have had to admit to that. All right. Also, it would say that he would drain his victims. So we're talking about getting all the blood out of their bodies. This is something I feel was done in the shower or the sink. That's probably where that horrific smell is coming from, is through the pipes. All right. So many things here, but I do know they were saying this is very sad. I did get a very strong, overwhelming feeling of sadness from the victims and also from the spirits, you guys. It is a very, very sad event. Went on way too long, longer than it should have. And I feel, again, because he was connected to some things and he could get away with it. And y'all know what I'm talking about, okay? Now, in Germany, Deutschland, I also want to explain that when he was serving in the force or whatever you want to call it, I'm not very familiar with military slang or verbal things about the military. I do know that he was kicked out the military, and there's things you don't understand or you were never told, okay? People drink in the military, y'all. People do drugs in the military. If you are in the Army, you probably will have to. So that's really not why he became a problem or why he was kicked out. And you're saying, what? Okay, let's go into it. The reason he was kicked out of Germany, not only the Army or whatever military thing he was a part of, is because of the simple fact they found films. This is what you don't know. Okay? They found films. So what does that tell you, y'all? Not only had he been doing this, what was on those films was so grotesque, I get, and so intense. They had to get him up out of there, y'all. Germany didn't want to deal with that, okay? They didn't want no parts of that. Even though in these foreign countries, those types of things are in high demand. And we've talked about that too. But the military they didn't want no parts of that, y'all. That's too deep, and they didn't want to have that connection. They didn't want anything coming back on them. They didn't want to be blamed for anything like this. Okay, so you're saying, well, what in the world was on those films? Take a guess. We are talking about Jeffrey Dahmer. We're talking about some things probably dealing with essaying, beatings, torture, holding people captive. All right. There's some really crazy stuff on there. And they did not want to be connected in any way of what he was doing. Okay. So they had to get him up out of there, y'all. And this is why. But they blamed it on his drinking, his misconduct, him not being on time to things. This has nothing to do with it, y'all. Nothing at all. It's just a way for them to kind of sweep it under the rug. Now we're going further into the reading because this is very interesting, and that's kind of what I was feeling in the first place. Again, I don't know what the 14-year-old kid is connected to, but they are really upset about that. All right. Okay. So let's go into our little reading here. We're going to ask some different questions because we don't really want to read Jeffrey and his crimes. We get it, right? And I'm asking, okay, what's the real reason? Y'all think I'll be making this stuff up what I get. Call the hotline, y'all. He was doing this for money. I've been saying that. Okay? Also, I feel like he was at war within himself about his sexuality. Yes, he was very homosexual, y'all, but I don't feel he was totally comfortable about it. And at that time, it was a thing where most homosexuals were very uncomfortable, okay? Coming out to their parents, their friends, their peers. I also think when they found that stuff, when he was, in the army or whatever, he was very embarrassed, very in shock that they found out. Okay, these are flying out. And I think I know why. They found photos as well that y'all will blow your minds, okay? Because even the photos that the cops found, I'm trying to tell you, they haven't slept right since in his home. Okay, so this is something, okay, he really did have a very high lust for men. He was, okay, very sexual. He had a very high sex drive as well, okay? But he also loved what he was doing. He loved the thrill of the kill. He loved luring these victims. He loved holding them captive. It's something about captive that he loved the most, okay? Keeping them for a certain amount of days under his control, all right? As you know, there's police involvement with this. I really do believe that the police that were involved with this particular case and crime, y'all, they are going to need counseling for a very long time, all right? That was in his home and found this stuff. I'm trying to tell you. Okay, because there's a lot of secrets that they're not telling you. Again, the reason he really was kicked out. Things that they really found. It's like to me, like a haunted house, y'all. But this ain't the kind of haunted house you go to on Halloween. This is a little more amped. All right. So he felt he got a victory out of this, luring these victims. Again, this is for a come up. This is for money. This is for status. Okay. And this is his story. He felt successful at this, hate to say this, but losers feel doing these types of things are successful, just like what Wayne Williams thought what he was doing was successful. It made him feel like a success for once, okay? A lot of them have transitioned. They're going into a lot of things here spiritually. The victims and even Jeffrey are going through some type of rebirth on the other side. There's something about focus. They're focusing on something. Both have different lessons that needed to be learned, okay? Very interesting on that one. A lot of conspiracy theories why he did this. It's so simple and cliche to say it's for cannibalism, Satanism. It's for, him getting off on these types of things. It's a little bit deeper though, you guys. All right. Look, yes. So what was he doing this for? And what was he involved with that made profit? He is definitely a serial killer. And this is the part that, wow. He gets power from this. It comforts him to do the specific act of killing. From issues from a child, you guys. And we know that to be true. Look at Jeffrey. Again, y'all know this is our narcissist, psychopath, sociopath. Oh my God, it's going dark. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. He's a very dark person involved in a lot of dark things. And y'all think I'm gonna call him up? Y'all crazy. Okay. We are learning about him, okay? Even as of now in this reading, these victims do want their blind justice. And in some crazy way, I feel like Jeffrey definitely was a sociopath and a narcissist combined, which is kind of hard to find both in one trait. Oh my gosh, something's coming in. He hated himself. That's pretty deep. That's deep. And in a way, it's kind of like you want to feel sorry for him, in a way. But every time I think about what happened to the victims, I can't, like, I can't go too far into that. Okay. Again, high sex drive would take most of them to hotels, lure them for sex. A lot of them didn't make it out. Body count is very high, you guys. They're not telling you the true number of people that were murdered either. He murdered a lot of people. A lot. All right. It speaks of death. Even for him. Okay. And it's saying he wouldn't have stopped until he died. He was not going to stop. It was just going to get worse and worse. Because, you know, he's from another world. Not only is he mentally unstable, he's spiritually unstable. I just get he's just a person who's very unstable in every sense of the word. You know, there's no stability with him. He's definitely a predator. Preyed on these victims. He would watch them. You know, he's a crazy stalker, y'all. Would hurt victims, then back off, come back at the same thing again. So this is kind of why he was becoming very successful and almost a pro at what he was doing. He knew when to kind of back off, even though he had very strong impulses. Oh yeah, y'all know I'm sounding true. All right. Also, he didn't want to keep these victims too long. I know he talks about, oh, I didn't want them to leave, but I get something about he started getting annoyed at some point. When he felt he was losing control, yes, and the victims became very needy, what he considers out of control, then it's like, okay, they gotta go. He is a liar. Y'all know he lied many times, okay? He did move around, got victims from different places, okay? Also speaking about when he would lay low for a while, then come back to surface and do this again. He is a part of corruption, y'all. I can't say the word on YouTube. Starts with an S. Y'all know what kind of stuff he's into, all right? What kind of films. He's definitely into porn, but I get sadistic things, dark things. Investigation was done on him. They need to do a better one because he killed way more people. That is the silver lining of it, you guys, all right? A lot of people also get very angry about feeling like he just killed minorities. This is not true. I feel he did kill Caucasians as well. Just not as many. But he did. Okay, he's a traitor. He would get you somewhere and turn on you. You know that's what he would do. He has issues with his father since he was a child, but a lot of his traits he got from his father. Okay, go into it. He learned to cut off his emotions at a very young age, and I feel his father showed him how to do this. Don't get me wrong, Jeffrey's sad too. Like I feel like oh look you guys, the truth card. He had a very hard life. I'm not taking that from him. With his mother especially, he felt like the black sheep, very misunderstood. All right. I feel like his family may have been Catholic or had a Christian faith, something of that sort. Very strange, odd case in person we're talking about here. He's an introvert. He's very secluded to himself, but yet he can pretend to be a socialite. Okay? And this is how he would get his victims, going to clubs, going out, partying. A lot of people are still in fear about him. Even in death, he's in fear of being exposed, you guys. He doesn't want too much of his information out. He definitely hurt these victims. There's a lot of medical things that were involved. And I think he was doing medical procedures on them. What in the world? Playing doctor? Waited till they were alone. You know, we're going into our like predatorial stuff, y'all. Luring them back to his home or a secluded location. Politics are involved. In some way, he definitely got something out of this. I'm not just talking about self-gratification. There's something more. It's saying, listen. So I do believe, y'all, the court system definitely failed these victims as well, because there's so many like crazy stories and things that he has done that he has slipped through the cracks. And I believe it's because of certain things is why. But again, it's something he's a part of that is allowing this to happen. Now, he is more attracted to a certain type. That is a fact. Also, this speaks of his mental illness. Okay. Could be hereditary as well. This talks about him drinking, doing drugs, drugging victims, also going after drug addicts. They're very, very easy to lure is what I get. So a lot of them were victims, and that's why they really didn't care. Okay. Hidden secrets, hidden things. They really don't know everything. This man died with a smirk on his face for the simple fact that they didn't know everything. And he really feels good about that, which is crazy. Like, haha, there's certain things they didn't find or didn't know. Very interesting. Did this for growth, okay? There's someone I feel he talked to about these crimes. They know a lot about him, a lot about what he did, but they're not sharing it with people, okay? These victims felt trapped. This is what he would do, trap them. Saying the helper, this looks like a female. This is, okay. So many people have to die again for mother issues. My God. Was this man schizophrenic? Okay, y'all, listen. I'm not even lying. I'm getting Norman Bates vibes. This is all stemming from when he goes into the personality of his mother. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Y'all, this man is, he is crazy. So The hatred, I don't want to say hatred, right? It's such a strong word, but y'all, it's pretty close. That he has for his mother, he's basically taking out on these victims. But while this is happening, he's in the personality of his mother. Kind of like Norman Bates when he would kill. Oh my gosh. I never thought I would get that. That is so informative. I never thought I would be reading Norman Bates. And y'all think childhood issues and taking drugs while you pregnant and abandoning your children and not paying attention to them and giving them love doesn't turn into stuff like this? Think again. I think there are so many people dead because people got mommy and daddy issues. I'm not even lying. And it's unfortunate that people don't do the healing or get help or can't find the help and healing they need because of these issues, and then they turn to doing stuff like this, y'all. It's really crazy. We are really talking about a Norman Bates. That is wild. Okay. So as you know, he was imprisoned. Okay. I feel like he's also kind of imprisoned like this in the afterlife as well, which he should sit and think about the things he's done. Dark forces, evil intent. I just really feel like there's like a possession even from so many negative inner feelings about his childhood and growing up, home situation. That is wild. Okay. I don't even want to use the killer cards. We kind of get the gist of it, right? But I want to go into these. All right. Well, I didn't even know that, y'all. About the Norman Bates stuff. Okay. Told y'all I got a little. Okay. Yeah, I feel like all this stemmed by a family member, you guys. Mother and father issues for sure. This happened in the city, so we're talking what, Milwaukee, or wherever that was. I can't remember. Okay. Okay. Would blackmail some of his victims. All right. I believe there is a game of cat and mouse of pretending like he would let the victims go, but he never did. Like, if you do what I say, I'm going to let you out of here. That never happened, you guys. On the run. After he did these things. Okay, so I'm getting also there's a part of the story and movie that is true. He would taunt the parents of these victims. That's really sad. That is sad. You don't do stuff like that. Knife sharp object. As you know, drugs were used. One of them did escape. That is a fact. I think maybe a couple. But they did not tell. For one, they were embarrassed. For two, they're, kind of ashamed about the homosexual thing or whatever the agreement was of going back with him, okay? So they just didn't. There's a lot of, SA victims and victims that don't come forward, you guys, unfortunately. And these things could have been prevented, most of them, had they had done so. But I feel they were afraid of judgment. And also you have no idea how the police would make them feel. So a lot of them didn't even report it. Again, he would keep some alive, and some of the people, again, it's saying that some of them did make it. But they did not come forward. It's just that one guy did. After everything happened, after the guy came forward, then they want to come forward, you know. You know, oh my gosh, I didn't get this card. Oh. Well, well, well. Well, well, well. So this kind of odd. We do the Kanika reading. And this thing's lighting up behind the card, so let's move it now. Organ trafficking, y'all? For real? Even then? Explains the body shop, the apartment used, places used for storing parts, cutting up parts, draining bodies. Okay, we'll go into it. Doing medical stuff. So not just used for cannibalism or other purposes. Y'all, this, oh my goodness. Woo. I just feel like the people that know the real story behind this, they are going to be on medication for a long time, y'all. Okay, so I feel like not only were pictures, films being sold, but could possibly be body parts as well, because I did hear plain as day Jeffrey saying, name your price. He's selling something. He's selling these films, selling these photos, selling possibly these body parts, you guys. Two buyers. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is what I figured. This is what I figured, what I was getting, but I had to confirm it. Oh my gosh, that one flew out too. That flew. All right, let's do maybe one or two more. Okay, so we definitely get sexual intentions. We know he's very heavily sex driven. And I feel like a sibling felt that he was very, very odd. I think there's also thoughts of maybe him wanting to do this, and obviously murders involved. A lot of them are spiritually transitioned, if you will. And a lot of this was done right at his home, you guys, or random areas. And yes, money was involved. Wow. And just kind of what I figured. Just kind of what I figured. Let me use these little cards right here. I get he was very, very wise in what he was doing too. He's a loner, as you know. We know Jeffrey's a loner. These people trusted him. There's definitely alcohol and drinks used in most of these to drug them. Or definitely we know Jeffrey had an alcohol problem. Close to home, cracks will appear. And to them, mostly he was a stranger. Okay, they didn't know nothing about him. Just kind of barged into their lives. While they're out at night partying, you see the scene. Okay, most of the time he would take cabs, you know, with them back to his home. Medical records will prove what happened to a lot of them. Okay. This shows where he did prank and harass the families of these victims, knowing they were looking for their siblings, children, whoever they were, okay? He would call and say things like, do you know where they are? Do you know what happened to them? And sometimes give them little hints and clues. And they'd be like, who is this? You know? This is horrible. Horrible. He liked to taunt the families of these victims. That's really, really sad. And I don't like him at all for that. All right. Not good. It just makes me not like him even more. Okay. Let me see what these cards have to say about what he was kind of into. Again, nobody just murders for no reason, y'all. There's reasons behind it. Most of the time we have found that it could be money related, all right? Most of the time it is, all right? Watching, looking. So he was stalking, watching, perceiving these victims, choosing a certain type, y'all. That's not going to draw attention to him. Unconditional love, giving and receiving, fairness and love, affection, return. This is what he was wanting as a child. Unfortunately, this is not what he received. And it's also kind of a lot of the reason why this happened, okay? Not to blame it. Death, the relationship is over, no second chances, growth and transformation. What's dead is dead. There's nothing he can do about what he has done, these lives that he has taken. There's like absolutely nothing he can do. What's done is done. Look at all these bodies. All these skeletons and skulls. Oh my gosh, of people he's murdered. You have got to be kidding me. There's no turning back. I even get him saying that, but I don't want to hear from him, so. Obviously, there's not. Thanks to you, there's a lot of people missing their families in this way. Addiction. This is his problem. Codependency. This is why he didn't want the victims to leave, okay? Obsession and restraint. Possession and control. Emotional block. This is his dark side. This is why all this kind of happened the way that it happened. And I don't feel that alcohol and drugs made it any better, okay? Not at all. Okay, we'll do like maybe 2 more cards, y'all. So, of course, he would act like he's dating these victims, get back out of there, meeting someone new, setting a date online. So meeting up with these victims, you know, like, why don't you come back to my place? You know, we'll have a few drinks, you know, kick back. You know how men do, okay? So this is kind of how he would lure them or pretend they're going to be on some date or something, okay? Back to the location to do what he needs to do. Look right here, you guys. This bottle is very significant to maybe the drug that he would pour into their drink. Okay. And let's go into maybe 2 more cards. All right. Grounding, stability and security, performance, growth, and endurance. This is what he was needing in a positive way: stability and security, performance, growth, and endurance. He lacked stability and being grounded. All right. He had a lot of issues, y'all. A lot of issues. He needed a lot of light work, a lot of inner work that he just didn't want to do. All right. Love, unconditional love. Self-love and wholeness, affection and attraction, selflessness. And this is something that he was wanting again in his life, but this is also something he needed to practice, right? That he did not do. He did not do the work. right? Okay, very interesting, the cards that we're getting. So he had a thing for looking at his crimes, looking at his victims in certain poses and different things, looking at them in agony and pain and suffering, looking at pictures, missing you, nostalgia, and make new memories. He would carry these photos around with him. Wow. Okay. Hammer, sabotage, rebuild, persistent, working on repairing it. He needed a lot of repair, a lot of working on himself. And again, he just was not willing to do the work. He was lazy. You know, healing takes time and work, y'all. Inner work. Heartbroken, deeply hurt and sad, feeling lost, grieving, and despair, breakup. This is what he was feeling every day. He felt empty, deeply hurt about things in his life, feeling lost, grieving, and despair, okay? And also, I feel like when these victims would leave, this is also how he would feel. But if you're causing their demise, I mean, what else do you expect? All right? So also, I feel like he would grieve his victims. That's weird. The loss. Well, here we go. Narcissist, love bombing, self-absorbed, one-sided. Well, we already know his traits. So this is what you're going to get. All right. Very self-absorbed and one-sided. You could be in an argument all day with him about what he did. And I'm trying to tell you, he is going to see it his way. All right. Very good. We've had a lot of confirmation on some things. Very good, very interesting, very weird at the same time. It's just sad because these kids don't get the love they need at home. That people gotta suffer. We'll see what these cards have to say too, about what's going on with him. That's the Mystic Red, okay? We have found out some things, y'all. So, this is him. Look how it depicts where he's just in total darkness, y'all. This is a very dark, dark man, all right? Ugh. Just the energy, y'all. Please. And I feel like this also depicts where he is spiritually as we speak. I can't get no darker than that. He wanted to cross lines, I get. He wanted to be more evil than evil itself. I mean, how can you do that? He wanted to cross spiritual lines. On the other side, this is him though. He has regrets. He knows he's made mistakes. But it's too late, like it said. It's too late. So he's just living eternity in darkness and regrets, which does sound like a fun place to me. We've already talked about that, where that place is, y'all. You know, we don't want to do that tonight. Insecurity, self-esteem. Also, he suffered, most narcissists do, self-esteem issues and insecurities, y'all. He wasn't as confident as y'all think. In these clubs and stuff like that, he had to drink a lot of alcohol, do a lot of drugs to even get up the nerve, y'all, to go up to somebody. So we're talking like maybe some social insecurities. Also, bully really bad in school. He's very insecure. Twin flame. So he's looking to hook up. He's out there looking for a hookup, all right? Looking for a date. Someone to spend some time with. And I don't even believe half of these crimes would have happened had he not have been really drunk or doing some type of substance. That did not help, y'all. I'm telling you the truth. Home foundation. Most of this happened from home, and a lot of his issues stemmed from home. All right? Single. So he was single, not in a relationship with anyone. Couldn't be if he wanted to. Crossroads direction. There were times he didn't know which way to go. Should I do it? Should I not do it? I think this also talks about the 14-year-old. He was at a crossroads if he should actually do that specific crime or not. But the alcohol said, go for it. Why not? Most of the victims he didn't want to do. There were a lot of fears. He was afraid of being caught. And those people, the victims, were definitely afraid and in fear, y'all. Can you imagine? All right. Intuition, inner knowing. I feel like at some point those victims kind of knew what was about to go down. Okay. A couple more cards here. Call hearing from them. Okay. So again, he has issues with obsession. So there's people that maybe he dated before, was seen before. He's very clingy. Again, very obsessive. Proposal, commitment. I feel he did want a relationship, but he's just not capable. He's not there mentally or spiritually to be able to maintain a relationship. But deep down, this is something I feel he was wanting. Okay. But he's a snake, and it's not what it looks like, y'all. He would depict himself one way, and we know good and well what he was. Just pure evil. Filled with the devil is what I get. Y'all like it or leave it. All right. Whoa. Well, I tell you, this reading has blown me straight up away. All right. Well, I've just never. Okay. This has been very, I knew this one, y'all, was going to be crazy. Well, this has explained a lot for me. I don't know if it has for you, but it's giving me answers to where I now understand a lot of things that I was getting that needed to be confirmed. And, thank you, spirits and the victims that have come forward. Very brave, very informative information. I never felt Jeffrey was just out here killing people to be, like he just woke up one morning and said, I'm going to kill somebody. Now that to the public is scary. That is scary, right? But there's so much more to it, and I have been telling y'all that on Crime TV. I've been telling y'all that. I don't know if you hear me, though. I think what scares people and the public the most is really thinking that someone's out there that's just saying, I just feel like killing today, you know? But it's not always like that, y'all. 9 times out of 10, there's things involved, and I keep telling y'all that. People that are involved with organizations, people who profit off of this type of stuff, that's really kind of what's scary, but I would see where it's really frightening to think somebody's just doing this to be doing this, but that's not usually how it goes. Jeffrey also was dealing with a lot of issues about coming out about his sexuality, fighting that, okay? Fighting being out with his relationship as a homosexual. Believe it or not, I don't think his family's too hot on dating outside his race either. There's just so much to it, right? But there's methods I get to this thing. How you have to do a body, how you have to prepare a body. I can't even imagine the smell. I can that being backed up in your drain, y'all. Oh my gosh. And then on top of it, he's not like the most tidiest person in the world either. The drinking, the alcoholism has also made him very sloppy, which is actually a good thing, y'all. Okay. I don't get that he was ever gonna stop. Ever. Okay. And that's really the sad part. I think, and y'all don't hear me though, we've talked about this too, that there's just certain people you can't mess with. So I would like to really know about the 14-year-old boy. I just keep getting him over and over again. Spirits are so unhappy about that particular one. Oh my goodness. I don't know what ancestors he had. But I'm telling you right now, they also could have been the reason he was caught. Because I just keep getting it was so unnecessary. It was so unnecessary. And it was. It really was. Either way, that particular boy's fate was going to be bad. I mean, he would have had to be taken care of all of his life because of how Jeffrey damaged his brain is what I get. But even possibly what I'm trying to tell y'all is like in diapers where he needed round the clock care. Okay. But he still chose to take his life. Either way, it was going to be a bad thing. And I know that sounds terrible, but this was not going to have a good outcome. All right. Even if they would have like taken him to the hospital, brought him back to the parents, blah, blah, blah. Okay. His life was basically ruined by the damage that was done to his body. But I just keep getting it was so unnecessary. However that played out or however that happened, that's just what they keep saying. And they are very angry about that particular crime. Okay. Which is strange. I just they're grieving all the victims though. It was such an overwhelming sense of sadness. I had to get out of that energy, y'all. I was gonna start screaming and crying, but this whole event, this whole case, this whole crime, everything is just sad. That's what I get. It's such a strong grievance. And even on the other side, I feel like he's kind of not grieving what he done, but regretting what he done. See, there's a difference. Grieving means you actually cared about what you did. Regretting is like, I wish I'd never did that because where I am now, you know what I mean? But let's just, keep praying for the victims. And there's also some survivors that have not come forward. Some have not. Some are feeling more comfortable. Yes, I know. Some are feeling more comfortable about the more this is talked about, the more this is televised, the more this is being brought out, then they kind of want to tell their story too. What happened to them from Jeffrey, okay? There were a lot of people who were victimized in the military with him or the army, whatever he was involved with. There are a lot of people who went to school with him. Things have happened. Things happen in that home that are not being talked about. See, that's what I don't like. His grandmother and father definitely knew he had issues, y'all. Like, definitely. The mother was so far in her world, she didn't even care. All right? But I get the father and grandmother knew what they were dealing with, and they swept it under the rug. And that should have never happened. That should have never happened. So again, I'm so sorry for the victims, and I thank you guys for coming forward and helping with the reading and giving information that has definitely blown me away. Okay? And shed some light on some things I was kind of getting, like I said before. I hope this has answered a lot of unanswered questions. Kind of get you away from the stories that are being told in the media, the magazines, the movies, y'all. Throw it in the trash. Because this one gets really crazy. All right. Again, I thank you guys for watching. I have other requests on the list. I have not forgotten you guys. Now I'm going to guess this because I have the list upstairs, but I think it's Tequila, something that we're going to do next. Oh no, just saying that name, things have changed. Okay, we're going to get into that one. Again, love you guys. I thank you for watching. I am adding requests to the list. Please be patient. I'm only one person. I can only meditate for so long, and I have things I have to do too. But I thank you for your patience, and I definitely am getting to every request, every viewer that I possibly can. Okay. Again, y'all know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. This is our Jeffrey reading. Love you guys. Have a great night.